Bitcoin was a reaction to the world recession of 2008. It gave people a new way to do business without having to trust third parties like banks, especially the failing banks that the government saved at the expense of the public. Satoshi Nakamoto wrote in 2009, the central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust. Mind you, Bitcoin hadn't seen recession, it has surely seen pandemic and war. If you are wondering what are the odds of recession, would Bitcoin survive recession, and what has real estate to do with Bitcoin, then keep on watching. I'm really excited to present you this comparative research of my own. Just hear me out for fun, and I promise you I will leave you with lots of deep thinking to be done at your own leisure. But before I start this video, please hit that like button, turn on that little notification bell so that each time I upload a new video, YouTube can notify you, and subscribe to my channel to help me grow and educate more and more people on cryptos, trends, and analysis. But the first question is, what are the odds of recession? Odds are quite high. We have 80% probability of recession happening. Why? Because when we have 2 quarters of negative GDP growth in a row, technically it is a recession. On 28th of April, we saw negative GDP growth, and there is a high probability of another negative GDP growth on 28th of July. Also, this year will be signed off with a negative 0.6% GDP. Okay, so recession probably already on us. What has real estate to do with recession in context of Bitcoin? I'll come to that bit in a while, but let's see what about real estate first. The growth is phenomenal, 37% growth in 24 months. Isn't the growth too good to be true? It indeed is, given there is an economic reset for the real estate. But why? As I said, we saw 37% growth in real estate in 24 months. It's too fast, not affordable, and not sustainable, because by comparison, back in 2008, real estate went up 29% in 24 months. And soon after, we saw recession. Not saying that real estate bubble brought recession necessarily, just pointing towards occurrences of 2 paired events all steamed to happen again. So why can't 37% growth sustain? Because incomes have only averaged out to be 6% growth in last year. And why Fed is focusing on real estate so that the supply side of the housing can catch up with the demand side to make it more affordable. The fact is that rates above 6% frighten off potential buyers, and Fed's move to increase interest rate would make money borrowing obviously difficult. This move might result in less costly homes and more properties to pick from. Of course, with fewer individuals ready to bid on properties, there will be fewer bidding wars, resulting in lower cost. And as fewer individuals look to buy, inventories will certainly rise. But why is Fed focused on resetting real estate? Because real estate represents a broader measure of growth of building wealth. How? Because it's one of the most significant economic industries. The affordability of real estate and rental prices, as well as changes in those prices, have a direct influence on property owners and tenants' wealth and consumer spending. Therefore, it makes sense to reset real estate for the middle class. But this process will obviously take time. Imagine if you are traditionally a real estate investor sitting on a pile of some money, but interest rates are too high. Would you just sit and wait and watch? Or maybe you may think, let's get out of my comfort zone and look around for another emerging, promising asset class, which is for now on a huge discounted price. No money borrowing needed, no worries for interest rate hikes. Risky, yes, but then so is real estate risky to some extent. This thought process would make real estate traditionalist investors hunt for another asset class with a potential of massive gains. You already know where I'm pointing towards. Now, you know where this conversation is going towards. It's fairly obvious that buying a Bitcoin as an asset is low maintenance, but high risk with the potential for high reward. On the other hand, real estate is a long-term investment that could end in a big payout down the road to provide you steady income. So when it comes to comparing Bitcoin with real estate, when it comes to putting in your hard-earned money, it's ultimately up to what you can afford and what you can afford to lose. You may have heard a lot of people comparing Bitcoin with gold. A simple Google search would show you many blog posts comparing both Bitcoin and gold. But a Google search comparing Bitcoin and real estate wouldn't give you much results, to be honest. Perhaps it's because both aren't comparable as asset class, or you may shrug it off as an utter nonsense comparison to be made. Nevertheless, it's not too long from today when people would be or are already debating over Bitcoin and real estate as a comparative investment opportunity. I find it quite interesting to compare cryptocurrency or Bitcoin with real estate. However, I don't find the two things very related at all for obvious reasons. Because Bitcoin is wild speculation and extreme volatility, I think we all accept that. Nevertheless, there are many of us who can afford to speculate because we can afford to lose all of our principal. Remember the old saying, you win or you lose, either way you get wiser. There's also no reason you can't have money in both. I would be willing to bet that there will be many people who made a killing in cryptocurrency and many people get killed in cryptocurrency. So before I get into this video more deeper, let me clearly put my belief on Bitcoin and real estate in a comparative perspective. Bitcoin is different than other investments. You can't think about it like a stock or a bond. It was created to free people from corruption of the banks, as I said at the beginning of this video. So obviously people in the traditional banking world are going to discredit it and try and stomp it out. Think about it. Technically speaking, the IRS cannot prove you have it or you don't. That is a very anarchist. So I don't see this going anyway anytime soon. The more corrupt the government gets, which it does, the stronger the crypto world will get. This isn't a fad investment. This is important technology that is going to change our future, which is why it's called disruptive technology. Think about not just the internet's perception when it was introduced, but credit cards as well. Of course, it takes a while for a shift like this radical to take place, but once it's in enough people's minds, it isn't going away. As an example, just 2 years down our memory lane, Venezuela was looking into it to help with their failing economy, and it allowed for people to get food. This isn't something to be disregarded. This is something that will turn the current power structure on its head and not just let the money aspect of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies win the debate. The blockchain technology in itself, in general, allows for transparency of public figures. Do your homework and understand what these currencies actually are. This is going on all over the world. Only, I would say, 1% of the world's entire population understands this truly disruptive technology. The rest are still blindly trusting US dollar. Speaking of USD, if you let my argument sink in your mind for just a few moments, think about it. The US dollar is literally worth nothing, at least not in my mind. I know I'm making some big claims here, but before you think I'm super crazy, let me remind you that value is subjective. Dollar may be worth the world to you, but not for me. Why? It's not backed by any asset. Surely it's integrated deeply into global economies. So are the systems that we are happy to be enslaved by. I see USD to be valued as extensively speculative speculation that had been fed to our minds throughout our lifetime. That's a totally different debate. Now let's see where fiat stands today post-COVID-19 pandemic. The fiat currency, including US dollars, are now considered contaminated. We accept contactless payment or we encourage no cash is the common thing to read in a post-COVID-19 world. Obviously, we have electronic payment system in place by now, but I would strongly argue that if once a king, remember we were raised listening to this phrase, cash is the king. So if once a king could be replaced by electronic money existing on computers, so could electronic money be replaced by digital money or cryptocurrencies. Anyhow, I look at crypto as a safety net. Bankers are quickly losing control and freaking out. We are becoming more free by the minute because of cryptocurrencies. So one thing should be pretty clear by now. Investing in cryptos is not investing, it is speculating. And there's nothing wrong with speculation. If you have the means, buy real estate, no doubt about it. But if you don't have enough for down payment or can't borrow money, thanks to Jerome Powell, as a traditionalist real estate investor, you aren't left with many choices but to look into cryptos. This can be once in a lifetime opportunity, and it would be a shame not to participate, in my opinion. I wouldn't necessarily get stuck on Bitcoin, though. There are way more advanced and useful altcoins out there already. Bitcoin has been running up for 9 years, not just a few months. There is a small number of people in this world that truly understand Bitcoin, and let me tell you the truth. Real estate investors are certainly not in that small group. Most people buying into Bitcoin currently are in fact speculators, but that doesn't define Bitcoin as a bubble. Quoting few con men do not give anyone's argument credibility, but rather the exact opposite happens. So what's so amazing about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is an infrastructure in the same sense that the internet is an infrastructure. The world's smartest cryptographers, programmers, and such have dedicated their lives to this infrastructure. Bitcoin is here to stay in one form or another. The dot-com bubble did not stop the internet, and speculators investing or not investing in Bitcoin will certainly not stop crypto or Bitcoin progress either in any way. If you want to own Bitcoin, then that's great. Understand for what purpose that Bitcoin will serve. Bitcoin is a highly complicated subject matter, and a layman trying to argue points on Bitcoin is no different, in my opinion, than a chef giving legal advice. If you do not understand Bitcoin, don't buy Bitcoin, buy real estate. But what choices do you have right now? Fact of the matter is, for most of us, it is darn hard to step outside our comfort zones. Remember back to the purchase process of that first investment property. I personally recall plenty of fear of the unknown. Okay, now I'll take a bit less aggressive approach towards supporting Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. And let's get into Bitcoin versus real estate and what's going to happen next. I certainly consider Bitcoin and Ethereum as quite speculative. If you're a conservative real estate investor with very, very little leverage, then such an investment speculation is a radical departure for you. But how about putting just less than 1% of your net worth, taking a small cryptocurrency position as a long-term holding? Even if you do feel you are quite late, trust me, you are still early. If it is a paradigm shift, you definitely don't want to be 100% on the sidelines. Currently, less than 1% of the investors are in cryptocurrency. Very few institutions are involved even today. So summing it all up, if you choose to invest into real estate, then it's the liquidity, costly investment, and high maintenance you should be concerned about. But if you want to invest into Bitcoin, then security issues, high risk, lack of government involvement, lack of regulatory environment is what you should be concerned about. So these are the points that I believe would push traditionalist real estate investors towards at least considering Bitcoin. I truly hope this video had been helpful for you. I would love to hear your comments on this content to help me help you educate more. Also, do like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.